Today from Indianapolis, a town synonymous with speed, we bring you the best in side-by-side monster truck racing. Bigfoot, Taurus, and the Carolina Crusher turned the Indiana State Fairgrounds into their very own personal brickyard. It's ground-pounding, hammer-down action coming up next. The trucks and tractor power on the Nashville network. Today we're at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis for the four-wheel and off-road Jamboree Fall Nationals. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong. And Army, the old adage you have to have a program and other players certainly applies here this weekend.
That's exactly true, especially in two cases. The name Taurus is synonymous with a fast monster truck. The Wellman family, father and son team, they've driven it for years. They brought their nephew into this thing. Eldon Depew will be the new driver for this truck. The truck is proven. We're going to find out about the driver. That's the newness of the sport. The old part of the sport is Nick Rossi. You know the name Rossi. He came out of New Jersey. He used to drive the Jersey Outlaw. He's going back into the driver's seat. Rossi still believes, Gary Lee, he's got the right stuff and can be competitive with these young guys.
Well, we'll have side-by-side monster truck competition from the racing capital of the world, Indianapolis, coming up next. We look across the infield of the storied mile dirt oval here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. If this racetrack could only talk, the home of the annual Hoosier 100, the richest dirt car race in the world. But this afternoon, it's a 12-truck format. The monster trucks competing here in the infield. The fast qualifier is Bigfoot. He will take on the Giant, the seventh fastest qualifier in round one. Also King Krunch matched up against Nitemare. Also matched up in round one will be Taurus, with Eldon Depew against Tropical Thunder, Wayne Smozanek, and the Outlaw, the fourth fastest qualifier, against Wild Thing. Once again, a 12-truck format here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Micro Machine will be up against Bad Medicine in round one, and then Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher and Colt Cobra in Snakebite.
Gary, it's kind of interesting because all the major manufacturers are represented. Dodge, Ford, Chevrolet, GMC. They're all here, and the people that sit in these grandstands are used to seeing some good racing, as you noted a moment ago, with the open wheel racing that normally comes here. But we're on the infield now. We're going about 350 feet. Time to show and tell, isn't it, Gary Lee?
A new truck here against an old truck, Giant. That is Kirk Dabney, now calls Fort Wayne, Indiana home, originally out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. He goes up against the St. Louis-based Bigfoot and Andy Brass, and it's all Bigfoot.
Yeah, real quick, suspension is the name of the game. Dabney had his hands full, wanted a high side and what have you. Meanwhile, Bigfoot goes out in the right lane and just literally airs it out, absorbs the energy. He's got to be a happy camper.
Well, here is a look at the new technology, the tube-frame truck. Now watch the suspension work on Bigfoot, and you can see Giant hop up in the back, and that's the major difference right there. As Bigfoot takes the victory, Andy Brass is down with Army.
Andy, there's got to be a good and a bad track, but when you draw number one, how do you make that determination?
Well, that's just what's hard to do. You know, we was trying to watch a track in qualifying and then pick a lane on the first run here. We picked the lane we qualified in. We're just going to sit back now and kind of watch it. We hope we run fast enough this round to give us lane choice in the next round. Like I say, we'll just sit back, watch the lanes, and see how they work.
So as Andy Brass walks back to the paddock area, we take a look at the auto value King Krunch of Scott Stevens out of Spring, Texas. It's been a tough season for Scott. He's been upside down a number of times trying to turn that season around as he goes up against Steve Hess. Steve, a Hoosier from Columbia City, Indiana, and he drives Nitemare.
Well, Hess will be driving under the banner of the Penda Corporation. They make some of the finest bedliners in the world. Meanwhile, Auto Value supports Scott Stevens, so we do have corporate involvement here. Whoa, Hess drilled him on the line. Can Stevens pull him back? No, he's not going to do it, Gary.
You can see the old suspension work, but he had the horsepower to pull it out. Exactly. He got the whole shot. And Steve Hess takes the victory in Nitemare. So the GMC will have to face off with Bigfoot in the quarterfinals. Look again. There's the whole shot, but watch the stiff suspension.
Well, both drivers are literally having to drive these trucks all the way. And then when they land, you just hold on.
Army, let's talk to Steve Hess.
Well, some people might have called that an upset. I don't think that's the game. You've played it a long time. You're coming around, aren't you? You're finding a handle.
Yeah, the truck has been doing real good. You know, this is the last race for this truck. And we've worked real hard to get it where it's at, and we'll be back with a new truck, hopefully, within the next race we'll be at.
Be stepping up with the GMC brand again?
Yes, right. With the Hydromatic GMC Penda truck, we'll be back next time with a new one, we hope.
Well, Coming up next is a truck they should rename All in the Family. This is Eldon Depew. He is a nephew of Jack Willman Sr., the owner of the truck. We've seen Jack's son, Jack Jr. drive, so everyone in the family gets a shot at driving Taurus, and he goes up against Wayne Smozanek, the Chevrolet from Jupiter, Florida, called Tropical Thunder.
Gary, I wonder what the Willman family talk about at family reunions like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Sit around and talk about monster trucks.
How tender the turkey is.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, we got a race, Gary. Look at this. Hey,
wow, but Depew takes the victory in Taurus. So the nephew turns in a good ride here. I just wonder how they determine who actually drives the truck.
Knowing these guys, it could be with the flip
of a coin.
Exactly.
So Taurus advances as he will send Wayne Smozanek to the trailer.
Smozanek comes to the sport from drag racing. His reaction time showed us that.
Yeah, but it was horsepower over reaction time. Here's Eldon.
Eldon coming into the driver's seat of one of the toughest trucks on the circuit. Does that put a whole lot more pressure on you? You know, it doesn't seem that way from the outer.
No, it's not really a whole lot of pressure because these new design trucks, they're real smooth, real easy to drive. You know, you got to have some driving ability, but Jack Willman drives an excellent truck.
Great, now, but Jack Willman's not driving that truck today. You are. How does it feel to you?
It feels excellent. You know, he designed it, he's happy with it, and I'm happy driving.
We'll see you in the next round.
Thank you.
So Eldon Depew drives Taurus here this afternoon. A good crowd on hand at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis. And here is the Outlaw, Nick Rossi, back in the driver's seat out of New Jersey. And he will go up against Wild Thing, Jim Booker, out of St. James, Missouri.
Well, Booker's trying to work his way through his freshman year in the sport. He runs a rear motor type setup. Meanwhile, the Outlaw, they say once you learn how to ride a bicycle, you never forget. Let's see if Rossi knows how to ride a monster truck. Yeah, he still got it, doesn't he, Gary?
Well, Rossi's like the old gunslinger who's been off the dusty trail for a while, but he's back.
He's going to smack this new kid around and show him whose boss is what he did right there.
Well, he gunned him down right here on the start. Booker has a problem immediately getting over that first set of cars. No problem for Nick Rossi. The Outlaw takes the victory. Here's Army.
Nick, you're back in the driver's seat. How's it feel to you out there?
It feels real good. Feels real comfortable. I'm ready.
You're still an attack driver, aren't you?
Yeah, we're trying.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.